The flower is still on your hands when the bell above the door rings. And you don't look up right away, because customers come and go, and you've learned not to waste hope on the sound of a door. Your name is Wendell Ashgrove, and 3 years ago, you had a corner office with a view of the harbor, a title that made people straighten up when you walked into a room, and a daughter who believed her father could fix anything. Now, you have flour under your fingernails, at least that's 2 weeks behind, and a daughter who still believes it, even though you're not sure you do anymore. You keep your head down, wiping the counter that doesn't need wiping, because the truth is, you're afraid to look up and see another empty morning. The bakery has been quiet for 3 days straight. Quiet in a way that isn't peaceful. Quiet in a way that feels like the walls are counting down with you. Then you hear the voice. It's a voice you have heard in your nightmares for 3 years. A voice that once said 6 words to you in a glass conference room, while 11 other people looked at their shoes instead of at you. 6 words that took your house, your health insurance, your wife's trust in you, and eventually your wife. We're going in a different direction. You freeze with the rag still in your hand. Table for 1. The voice says, easy, casual. The way a man talks when he has never once in his life worried about where his next meal is coming from. You force yourself to lift your eyes. And there he is. Elias Prescott Vance, the third. Silver at the temples now, more than he had 3 years ago, but the same tailored coat. The same watch that costs more than your monthly rent. The same way of standing in a room like he owns the air in it. He glances around your small bakery at the mismatched chairs you bought secondhand. At the chalkboard menu you wrote yourself because you couldn't afford it. Printed 1. At the smell of cinnamon and burnt sugar you've spent 3 years learning to make with your own hands, and there is not one flicker of recognition in his eyes. He doesn't know you. The man who ended your career with a shrug and a legal pad doesn't remember your face. Your chest tightens, and for a moment, you're not standing in your bakery anymore. You're back in that boardroom, 12 years of loyalty laid out on the table like it meant nothing. Watching him check his phone while you asked if there was anything you could do. Anything at all. Because you had a 6-year-old daughter and a wife who had just been diagnosed, and a mortgage that didn't care about corporate restructuring. He hadn't looked up from his phone then, either. Sir, your voice comes out steadier than you expect, steadier than you feel. Coffee, black, and whatever's fresh. He doesn't sit. He stands at the counter, scrolling through something on his phone, the same way he used to stand in the hallway outside your old office, always somewhere else in his mind. Even when his body was in the room. Your hands are shaking as you pour the coffee, and you hate that they're shaking, because you promised yourself a long time ago that you would never let this man see you shake again. But he's not looking at you. He's never really looked at you. Not then. Not now. You slide a cinnamon roll across the counter, the recipe your grandmother taught you in a kitchen in Millhaven when you were 9 years old, the recipe that saved your family when the corporate severance ran out and the job offers stopped coming, and you sat in your car outside your daughter's school and cried until you couldn't breathe. That'll be $4.50, you say. He hands you a card without looking at you, still scrolling, still somewhere else, and that's when you see it. The name on the card, Vance Consolidated, your old company, his new empire apparently grown even bigger since he cut you loose to make room for it. Something rises in your throat, something between a scream and a laugh, because the man who destroyed your life is standing in the shop you built out of the wreckage of what he left behind, ordering coffee like it's any Tuesday, like the world didn't end for your family the day he said those 6 words. He takes a bite of the cinnamon roll and stops. For the first time since he walked through your door, Elias Prescott Vance, the third, goes completely still. This is, he looks down at the roll like it just spoke to him. Who made this? I did, you say. No, I mean, he shakes his head. And for a second, just a second, something human flickers across his face. My grandmother used to make something like this before she passed. I haven't tasted anything like it in 30 years. You almost tell him. The words are right there, sitting on your tongue like a stone. You almost say, My grandmother taught me this recipe in a kitchen with a broken screen door and a radio that only played gospel music. And I have made this roll every single morning for 3 years, because it is the only thing that has ever felt like it belonged to me, since the day you decided I didn't belong to your company anymore. But you don't say it, because right then, the bell above the door rings again, and your daughter walks in from school, backpack too big for her small shoulders, and she calls out the only word that has kept you standing every single one of these 3 hard years: Dad. The word lands in the small bakery like a stone dropped into still water, and you watch it ripple across Elias Vance's face. You watch his eyes move from your daughter to you and back again. You watch something behind his eyes start working, turning, remembering. Dad, she says again, dropping her backpack by the counter, oblivious to the man standing 3 feet away from her. Mrs. Holloway said the science fair is next Friday, and I need poster board, and also, can I have a cinnamon roll? I only had half my lunch. Rosalind, you say gently, using her full name the way you always do when you need her to slow down for 1 second. Let me finish with this customer. But the customer isn't moving. Elias Vance is staring at you now, really staring, the way you used to wish he would stare at your quarterly reports, the way you used to wish he would look at you. You were more than a line item, to be cut when the numbers didn't add up. Wendell, he says slowly, and your name in his mouth sounds like a door creaking open after a long time shut. Wendell Ashgrove. You don't answer. You don't need to. You worked logistics, he says, and you can see him piecing it together. 3 years of erased memory reassembling itself piece by piece. 12 years. You had a picture on your desk, a little girl, missing her front teeth. She has all her teeth now, you say, and your voice is flat, because you have spent 3 years imagining this exact moment. And now that it's here, you don't feel the rage you thought you'd feel. You feel tired, bone tired, the way you feel after a 16-hour shift. The kind of tired that lives in your shoulders and your jaw and the backs of your knees. I remember now, he says, and he actually looks pale, the confident posture draining out of him like air out of a punctured tire. The restructuring. God, that was a hard year for the company. A hard year for the company. Something cold settles in your chest. It was a hard year for my family too, you say quietly. My wife had just been diagnosed. We lost the house 4 months after you let me go. Rosalind slept on an air mattress in her grandmother's living room for 8 months, because we couldn't afford anywhere else. The bakery goes silent except for the hum of the old refrigerator in the back, the one you still haven't been able to afford to fix properly, the one that groans every few minutes like it's tired too. I didn't know, Elias says, and for the first time in your entire history, with this man, he sounds like he means it. You didn't ask, you say. 12 years, and you didn't ask a single question. You just said 6 words, and had security walk me to my car like I was a threat to the building. He sets the coffee cup down. His hand isn't quite steady. I was wrong, he says. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I was wrong. We cut 40% of that division in 11 days. I didn't look at faces. I looked at spreadsheets. I told myself it was business. I told myself that for 3 years. Rosalind is watching the two of you now, sensing the way children always sense when the air in a room has changed, when something bigger than her science fair is happening between the grown-ups. Dad, are you okay? She asks, small hand finding yours on the counter, and that's the moment something breaks loose in your chest. Not anger, not triumph, something softer and stranger, a kind of grief you didn't know you were still carrying. Grief for the man you used to be before all of this. The man who trusted easily, who believed loyalty was worth something, who thought 12 years meant he was safe. I'm okay, sweetheart, you say, and you mean it more than you expected to. Elias looks at Rosalind for a long moment, and something in his face changes, softens, cracks open, in a way that boardrooms and glass offices never let it. She's beautiful, he says quietly. You built something beautiful here. Both of you. I built this because you took everything else, you say. But there's no venom in it anymore. just fact. Just the plain shape of what happened laid out on the counter, between you like the cinnamon roll, cooling in its wax paper. Can I ask you something? Elias says. You nod, because what else is there to do? After everything, after the house, after your wife getting sick, after all of it, how did you end up here? How did you end up making the best thing I've tasted in 30 years? You look around your small bakery, at the chalkboard menu, at the mismatched chairs, at the framed photograph on the wall of your grandmother standing in front of her own kitchen 60 years ago. Flour on her apron, pride in her eyes. When you lose everything, you say slowly, you find out what was never really yours to begin with. The house wasn't mine. The title wasn't mine. Even the company wasn't really mine, no matter how many years I gave it. But this, you gesture at the ovens, at the smell of butter and sugar filling the small space. This is mine. Nobody can restructure this away from me. Nobody can call this a hard year for the company and take it in 11 days. Elias is quiet for a long moment. Then he reaches into his coat and pulls out a checkbook, and for one terrible second, you think he's about to try to buy his way out of 3 years of guilt, and something hot rises in your chest, ready to refuse him, ready to tell him you don't need his money. You never needed his money. You needed him to see you as a person instead of a line on a budget sheet. But he doesn't write a check. Instead, he sets a business card on the counter, and beneath the Vance Consolidated logo, he writes a single line in pen. Call me. I want to talk about a supply contract. Fair terms. Written by you. I'm not trying to fix what I broke, he says quietly, seeing the look on your face. I know I can't. But there are 11 bakeries in 3 states under our commercial real estate division, all of them buying supplies from vendors who don't come close to what you just put in my mouth. I'd be a fool not to want to work with you. And this time, Wendell, I'll actually read your name before I sign anything with it. You stare at the card for a long moment, feeling the ground shift slightly beneath your feet, feeling 3 years of anger and grief and stubborn survival settle into something you don't quite have a name for yet. I'll think about it, you say, because pride is the last thing you have left that nobody ever managed to take from you, and you're not ready to hand it over just because a rich man finally remembered your name. Elias nods, like he expected exactly that answer, like, maybe, somewhere underneath the tailored coat and the watch that costs more than your rent, there's a man who understands what it means to hold onto the one thing you have left. He turns to leave, then stops at the door, the bell above it still trembling from when he walked in. Wendell, he says. You look up. That cinnamon roll, he says. Best thing I've had since my grandmother passed. I mean that. And then he's gone, the door swinging shut behind him, the small bell settling back into silence. Rosalind looks up at you, eyes wide, with the particular curiosity of a child who knows she just witnessed something important, even if she doesn't understand exactly what. Dad, who was that? You look down at the business card still sitting on the counter, at the handwritten line beneath the cold corporate logo, and you feel something you haven't felt in 3 years. Not triumph. Not exactly, but something close to it. Something like the quiet satisfaction of watching a locked door finally creak open on its own. Someone I used to work for, you say. A long time ago. Was he mean to you? You think about how to answer that. How to explain 3 years of struggle to an 8-year-old in a way that doesn't put the weight of it on her small shoulders. The way you've tried to protect her from that weight every single day since the house, since the air mattress, since the nights you sat alone in the dark doing math that never came out right. He made a mistake, you say. Finally, a big one. But sometimes, Rosalind, people get a chance to see what their mistakes really cost. Not everybody gets that chance. He just got his. She considers this with the serious face she gets when she's turning something over, and then she reaches for the last cinnamon roll in the case, tearing off a piece and offering it to you the way she has since she was small enough to sit on your knee behind this very counter. I like our bakery better than his job anyway, she says, matter of fact, the way only children can be. And you laugh, really laugh. For the first time in longer than you can remember, because out of the mouths of children comes the kind of truth that boardrooms and severance packages and corporate restructuring plans could never quite manage to say. You built this with your own two hands, out of grief and flour, and a recipe passed down through a screen door in Millhaven, and no title, no glass office, no six-word dismissal will ever be able to take it from you again. Whatever Elias Vance decides to do with that business card sitting on your counter, whatever comes next, one thing is certain now. Standing in the golden afternoon light with your daughter's flour-dusted hand in yours, you did not just survive what he took from you, you built something he could never have given you in the first place. And as the last customer of the day steps through your door, drawn in by the smell of cinnamon still hanging warm in the air, you realize that for the first time in 3 long years, you are not just the man who lost everything. You are the man who found his way home.
Stories like this remind us that losing everything is not always the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of who we were always meant to become. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a little hope today. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because there are so many more real heartfelt stories waiting for you right here.